This ain't your everyday tactical carry. This is the folding knife shootout, I guess. Here we go. We're going to talk about all these different folding knives and what we got going. So, I wanted to specifically talk about the Barlow knife. We have two of those out here today, and I just got these for a deal. They're imperial Barlows, so I got them for real cheap. They generally go for $12 to $15, and I think that they're a good everyday carry. They were the original everyday carry that people used to carry all the time. This knife was very popular, and a lot of people used to know about it. But these imperial blades, if you were to get a Barlow, I would definitely suggest getting a case or a Craftsman or any other Barlow besides Imperial, because this Imperial, as you can see, the nail nicks were placed in the wrong spot, so you can't get the knife open. So I had to add my own personal nail nicks, which kind of sucks on this knife. But other than that, it's not too bad. It opens. It still has good snap and things like that. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about these knives, and then we're going to review them and see where we go from there. So on this Imperial Barlow, this is a newer one, and this is an older one. And on this one, I had to reset the pins, and I accidentally cracked the Darylin, but it's okay because it's still in pretty good condition, and now it's not moving around all crazy like it was because the scales were moving around like way more than they were now. And now it's a usable knife. So these Imperials, like if you're looking for a um, cheap pocket knife, something to give your kids, something that would last in Boy Scouts, I would definitely suggest a Barlow. Imperial Barlow would be good to give to a kid, but if you're looking for a work knife, I don't know if Barlow in the Imperial line would be what you're looking for. And then we wanted to talk about some of the other things that were popular everyday carry as well, going all the way back to even the 50s. We have a really old hammer high band right here. So Huey was going to talk about this one. We'll get into that here in a minute. And then I had another really old knife, and this one right here is this one's a Schrade, New York, USA. I forget exactly which one this is. This is an 881. So if that tells you anything, it's missing its badge, and I'm selling this one. So this one's listed on my eBay, and I'll put that down in the description so you guys can check it out. It's got all of its original nail nicks, all of its original blades, and it looks pretty good. I had to clean up the patina on this because this knife was rusting, but I so you can tell it's carbon steel instead of stainless steel because it was rusting. So I'm trying to get this middle blade open. I just don't have nails. That's the problem. So, but you can see I had to grind off the patina because it was rusting. The patina didn't look like patina, it looked like rust. So this is carbon steel, not stainless steel. Like I said, this is an 881. Pretty interesting knife. So these were popular because this is what's known as a Stockman, and this has bone handle. And the only thing it's missing is its badge. But people really like these knives. They were sought after because they were made in USA, and they've got the bone handle, of course. Everybody loved the bone handle. I even love the bone handle, and it's just a very nice knife. But sadly, this one has a poor fit and finish. Um, I don't know. Other than that, I'd say this is a pretty good knife. I refurbished this one myself, and it came out pretty good. So we have some other ones here. If you'd like to talk about your case there.
Of course. So this case that I have right here, this is the case 6220SS peanut knife, and it's a peanut knife because the scale on the handle, it's got the peanut style on it. And if you see up close right here, it's got the case logo, brand, stamp, whatever you want to call it. And then we got the two little blades right here for, yeah, I mean, this is a little knife, so I guess they're both little blades, but this is the littler blade, I should say. And right here, down here, I don't know if you guys can see it, it says 6220. Then if I move the blade like this, you
It
can,
has a half stop.
yep, it's got a half stop like that at a 90-degree angle, and it says SS on the bottom, and that's how I found out what the model number was. And these knives, they usually typically go for around $50 to $70.
And how much did you get that one for?
I got this one at my local Army Navy store for 15.
And then, if I'm correct, it has a bigger blade on it as well. If I could borrow this from you, I just wanted to show this off.
Of course.
So we redid this blade. This blade was warped and had a nick in it. You can still see a little tiny bit of the nick, sadly. But other than that, she was cleaned up really well, and it does look pretty good. He keeps this one off to the side in his toolbox just because, I mean, it's sought after. It's a red bone. How can you not love a red bone, especially when you get it for so cheap? Somebody probably hit it with a hammer or tried to use it to pry and realized that, you shouldn't use a knife to pry. You have pry tools for that.
Hmm.
So that's the case knife, and we'll get into the utility side of that here in a minute. We're just showing off the lineup of what we got. Then I wanted to show a modern knife. This is a modern Buck 375 Plus, and this is comparative to his case because it's a miniature knife, and it's got two blades, so it's a pretty nice knife. Has a good wood handle, has lifetime warranty. So this knife is a pretty good quality knife, I would say so. I got it for $20 and they go for 28, so that was a pretty good buy. And then the last knife that I haven't talked about last is this the Swiss Army knife here. This is the Swiss Army knife camper, and this one was carried not a lot by everybody. The farmer was carried more by everybody than the camper was. But the camper, this is the old model, and it doesn't have the pin spot. So what I did was I put a nail right here in the corkscrew. You can find a painter's nail, and you can fit it right in there, and it won't come out. So it'll stay in there nice and tight.
That is very convenient.
Then after that, it didn't come with the toothpick, so I took a 1.5 Allen wrench and I put a little tiny flathead on it, so it can be used as a flathead or a pry bar. This is a pretty good piece of steel, so this will be able to pry on some things, but no heavy duty work. But what heavy duty work are you going to be doing with that small of a pry bar, anyways?
Right.
So, and then of course this one has the saw, which everybody was so crazy about, which I'm excited to use this for fishing. A lot of people haven't talked about this, but you could also probably use this for descaling fish as well. So that could be a use. Um, and this one, it's like I said, an older model. Um, Comparatively to the new one. So this one has the nickel silver bolster instead of it being painted on. That's why it's still on there. If it was painted or embossed, it would have been worn away by now, but this is nickel silver. So that's a pretty interesting fact. And then I put a lanyard on it just so that I'd have three extra pieces of paracord and just a lanyard to have around your wrist so you can throw it on your wrist and work on whatever you need to work on. And if you drop it, it's just a quick whip back to your hand. So that's the semi-review of all these knives that we've got here. And the gist of the reason why I wanted to bring all this out, why I've had all this information, is because these are general, everyday carry knives that I see people have, something similar to this lineup.
That is very interesting to know. And, you know, out of all the knife collectors that I've seen over the years, most of the time they would have knives that look just like this, or, they would have less amount or more.
Yeah, and a lot of the times you do find bone, wood, Darylin, and I forget what the material on here is, but it's Swiss Tech's special plastic that they use, and then you have metal as well. So you have a lot of different options for material on your knives. It's not just one. So some things that I found useful with this was I can open letters and I can open small packages and keep this in my wallet. So those are some big things with this knife. I don't have to carry, like let's say that I'm going somewhere, special, and I can't carry a knife on me. Let's say I can't carry my everyday carry bag or I can't have something on my hip because it's just inappropriate. So I can carry this in my wallet, and if I still need a knife, I'll have one. This knife, I think, would be a good knife for somebody's everyday carry to have in their pocket and to use every day. this knife has been used, and when you have a used old vintage knife, I feel like they should be loved and used till they're nothing. You know what I mean? Like they shouldn't just sit around. Everybody always lets case knives sit around and they're always so expensive. Why can't we just use case knives like a work knife? You know what I mean? Why do they
Hmm.
have to be so sought after like that?
I agree.
So what do you have to say about the Barlow?
Well, I like the style of the Barlow. It holds in your hand pretty well. Like if I do this, like if I grab Barlow right here, like if you just hold it like that, even when the blades are closed, it holds pretty well. And when you have the blades open, it even still holds pretty well as well.
Are there any hot spots with the blade being in your fingers like that? Like, does it hurt your fingers when you hold it?
Honestly, no.
Because when I thought that I was going to get this, I thought the little knife, like when I had this big knife open, I thought this little knife was going to be a hot spot where it was going to like cut into my fingers. But
Hmm.
honestly, it's not that bad. Like, it does it a little bit. It's a little bit of a hot spot. But honestly, like you can grip onto this knife and really, like I can grip onto it so tight that like I can even hold the blade. And like I'm sure I could get some serious carving or serious cutting done with this specific knife.
Hmm. For sure. And down here, it forgot to show this to you guys earlier. Down here, it says imperial, and this knife is from Ireland. So that's also a rare feature because most of the time, when you find knives and buy knives or selling knives, just anything with knives, most of the time you would find US knives or China knives. It's
Or
very,
Pakistan.
or Pakistan. Those three countries are very common here in the US.
Unless you're talking about Swiss Army knives, which is like the fourth most common knife that you see. Oh, what does your kid have? You know, well, I gave him a Swiss Army knife. Well, you know, I feel like Swiss Army knives are great, but when I was a kid, the hardest thing for me with a Swiss Army knife was to open it. I've bit my nails since I was a kid. I don't have nails, and I'm sure there's other people out there that don't have strong nails like me. And like even our friend just broke her nail trying to open one of my knives, and that was my whole point. Is the Swiss Army knife is just hard to open, but with this Barlow, with these nail nicks that I added, I can put my thumb on it and open it. It's a little bit tight, but honestly, that's why I suggest this one more so over the Swiss knife because you can open it easier. Now I'm having difficulty because there's oil on it, but anyways, I don't know. When you get a well worn knife, you can open it pretty easy. So I don't know. It all depends on what you got.
And it also depends on what style you're interested in as well.
So we have some other knives that we wanted to talk about as well. Um, and we'll get into that here in just one second. I was going to open up some of these knives so you can look at them while we were talking. You know, you want to help me open up some of these knives, Huey?
Of course.
Just want to open up some of these, have them be able to look at them.
Mm-hmm. There we go. I know my hands are looking a little rough, guys. Winter sucks. I hate winter time.
All right, we got a couple of these knives out here now. So these are what I would say is a general everyday carry. In the vintage everyday carry item list. Besides fixed blades, you did have a lot of fixed blades that were very popular, like K-bar and things like that. A lot of World War II knives, and just everything military. Everybody loves military, but things that weren't military were some of these items. Um, these were used before in some of the wars. They were very popular. Just people bought Barlows because they were reliable. Two blades, very strong and easy to open, easy to know, very sought after. So when I look for an everyday carry knife, this is not what I'm looking for. This is just too big. This is just too big. I can't carry something like that. But with this doesn't get in my way. You know what I mean? When I need a knife, I see people taking their knives and prying with them and doing everything like that. Well, if I pry on this, that's going to break the blade.
Oh yeah, I already seen it wobbling a little bit when just you doing that.
Yeah. So some other things that you run into. I wanted to talk about this knife, Huey. Here, you want to show them that knife?
Mm-hmm. So this one is the Stockman Crowing Rooster. That's one tough bird right there. This is what it looks like. It's got the marble finish. Looks really nice. Now this is his knife. This barely gets used, so that's why it looks pretty nice. Even the blades look pretty shiny. So there's that. And then right here, if you see right here, it's got the crowing rooster emblem. And then I'm going to open one of these blades for you guys for demonstration. And then down here, it's got the crowing rooster brand, and it says German design.
But it's made in China.
It's got the German design, but these knives were made in China. So there's that for you. And I'm going to open that. I'm going to open up the cleaver style blade. I really like this style of the blade right here because it reminds me of my Buck 252 knife that I have. And then we got the littler blade right here. It just has just a standard blade. And it also has the thumb studs too, so that way it's easy to open. So that's also a good feature on this knife. There is metal liners in here, so that's also a good feature. And it looks like they're on both sides too.
So Huey, the reason why I wanted to show that knife off is because there's a difference between utility and jewelry.
Mm-hmm.
And what you're holding is jewelry.
Yeah.
That's not a knife, that's jewelry.
Yeah, that makes sense. It definitely does make sense because this knife gets barely any usage. So yes, this is a piece of jewelry.
But it's not even an expensive piece of jewelry. That one is only worth $30. But the reason why I brought that out is because I wanted to compare this to some of these. If you look at this knife right here, you do have a similar steel. You've got a similar style blade. You've got, a nice finish on them. It's a really nice knife. I could compare this specifically to this knife right here. Very nice. This one has its full belly still, and this one doesn't. However, with that being said, um, you know, this knife right here, I don't want to use it because it looks so nice. And I know that the epoxy handles will eventually get scratched and damaged as I use it. It's just been sitting in that box and it's all scratched up as is. So that's why I don't like to use that knife that often. But with this knife, and the reason why I like repairing knives is because it looks, used. And it has been used. It has no belly down here. All that's gone. This blade is straight now. And this blade over here we used the least amount. You know what I'm saying? So you've still got three relatively good, useful blades. And this can be just thrown in your pocket, thrown around, and you don't have to worry about losing it because it's just a cheap knife. Now, I got this one for $20, but you can find some of these for like $30 or $40, and they're definitely worth a pickup. I would definitely recommend picking one of these up. So I have one more knife that I'd like to talk about, and like I said, the reason why I went over all this is because these were some of the everyday carry knives that were used back in the day by everybody. This knife was used so much that the small knife still has its snap, but this knife up here, its snap is broken.
Oh
No
yeah, you
snap.
can definitely hear the difference.
No snap. So that knife has been used. Now this Barlow right here still has snap. See, still has snap. You want a knife that still has snap because the reason why is when you have a knife and it doesn't have snap and you're not used to it, if you're an unexperienced knife owner and it doesn't have snap, it'll come back and it'll cut you.
Yeah, And it could also swing open in your pocket
Yes,
at
it
any
could.
point in time, and it can also stab your leg as well, and that would not be good.
So I got one last knife here to talk about. It's not a case, but it looks like a case, doesn't it? Anyways, this right here is my electrician's knife. I've got a piece of paracord, and I made a knife opener out of a wrench, and I put that on there. So 13/64, it fits in there just fine. Anyways, it could be any size, but I use this one to open this up. It just makes it a little bit easier. But this one is an electrician's knife. This is a TL29, or also known as a camillus. It's known as an electrician's knife. See how tight that is?
Oh yeah.
So this one has a lock on this knife right here. And I didn't know about this knife. I don't see a lot of people making YouTube videos about this knife. And I don't know why. Oh shoot. See, this one's really hard to open.
Oh,
That would probably be why this knife wasn't so sought after, is because it's just so difficult to open.
be careful.
Oh yeah, I am. This one's a camillus from New York,
Mm-hmm.
USA. You always saying be careful because this knife probably has the most snap out of all my knives. Like if I go up here and I hold the half stop is difficult to put on just alone. And then if I go back to do this and we go down for the snap, that's a real snap
Ooh.
on the
Oh
knife.
yeah, you can definitely hear the snap on that one.
Yep. So I wanted to talk about this real quick. This was also a very very well carried knife, and it was this one is a brand new one, so this one wasn't carried all that much. It has a little bit of wear. It was sitting in a box with a whole bunch of other ones, but what I will say is that um, electricians really did carry this knife, and other people that needed a just a screwdriver in general. So this has a screwdriver, a knife, and also another knife, and this is probably one of my favorites that I've bought here recently. And these are, if I was gonna buy another one, I definitely would. Like I think that this knife right here is a really good find, and I think you guys should check this one out. This one probably wouldn't be that good for prying, but like I said, it is very good as a screwdriver, a knife. I don't know. Plus a little pry bar. If you keep a little pry bar on there, you got a little pry bar with you everywhere you go. And I found this case sheath, but you can find other sheaths that are sideways sheaths like this, and they fit in there perfectly. Like this knife fits perfectly in there as if a case would. So most cases or Barlows would already fit in here. Like you can take a Barlow and fit that in there, and it fits perfectly. See what I'm saying? You'd probably have it like this. No? I guess you would have it like this. I guess it would have to be that way. But anyways, you would have your Barlow in there. Or what I do is I take this and I put it in. Oh shoot, I put it in the wrong way. Put it in like this. Then I take this and I shove this in here. Try to do it on the blades, so that way I don't mar up the Darylin. So why do you think people should carry everyday carry knives like this, Huey?
Well, all these different knives, they have different uses for each quality that they have. If you really think about it, and it's also nice to have knives that have two blades on them, which all of these knives do. So, because it would suck to be stuck with a knife with just one blade, because the one blade could, snap and break at any point in time. And then, you know, like that could be your only knife, for example.
And usually, whenever we carry a knife, whenever we're going camping, we carry our fixed blade and then our pocket knife.
Hmm.
We usually have two blades on us at all times.
That's right.
And the reason why is because if your fixed blade breaks, then what are you left with? Nothing. And when we're camping, we use it to chop wood, prepare meat, cook food, everything. We use our knives for a lot of things. So if we came into a part where our knife breaks in half, which does happen occasionally, or it becomes unsharp, you have to have a secondary blade. And I'm telling you, a 1 inch blade in an emergency situation is better than no blade at all.
That's right. Better than nothing at all. You're right.
So, all right, well, this was a long one. This was a long one. We talked about quite a few knives, and I'm not going to review that camper. I just wanted to put that out here to show that it's an everyday carry knife that can follow suit with this similarity list here. And I just hope that you have a great day. What do you got to say left, Huey? Is there anything you got to say left about these knives or anything like that about everyday carry or anything like that?
Well, I would just like to say, hopefully this year I can find more knives like the Barlow or like the case, for instance. Because the red bone case, those are very hard to come by, and I was so glad that Jay helped me find that knife at this local store that we usually go to every week. And because originally I was going to get this knife for $10, but then he helped me look at this case knife here, and sorry, it must have looked like I was pointing at that. I trust me, I was not. I was pointing at this one, the case red bone right here. He showed me that one, and it was for $15, $5 more, and I was like, might as well.
But
I
what
mean,
was
that
wrong with it? What was wrong with the case knife then?
originally what was wrong with the case knife is that the blades that had spots on them, they were starting to rust,
And they were bent
and they were bent too, and so we had to sharpen them.
and refix them. This, if you look right here, I'm going to try to show you guys.
There it goes.
There's right about there. There's where the nick was. So, all
Yeah.
right. Well, you can finish it off.
All right. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know it was a long one, but we had to get the information out there. I hope you guys like this video. If you want to leave a comment about your favorite knives, please leave a comment. And if you guys want to subscribe to our channel, please subscribe. If you guys, whenever you guys are watching this, just stay blessed, stay positive, and have a good day. We'll catch you on the flip side.